because it was made public as a result of the gentleman. We've advertised it, like, but there's no entitlement to any of the exhibits that are presented. I appreciate that we, carry it out in such a way. I'm not going to lecture anybody about the forum, but quite honestly, if somebody can get up and engage in a candidate, I'm not sure I can do it in a second. When somebody gets up and says, I want to tell them say something. This is like the state legislature for being or speaking. Mr. Jones, there's two sides, there's a jury box, way in and tell the jury how those states go. But it is your opportunity to witness something. These are things that occur all the time. I go to 41 years in schools, maybe 15 or 20 of these, so they're not that common, but somebody is entitled to the law to open public hearing. So I don't know if we have the right things resolved at this point. We gotta contest it.
Can you hear me?
We do the best.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. So when you guys say the regular vendor issues with one record, you want to talk about the sentiment one record, or talking off the record while it's still on. Okay. All right. It is approximately 5:34, and we're here at the form of a local agency here in regard to personnel action is advertised. As I stated before, it's an open hearing that is fundamental for law. We have two parties. We have the district, Tony Richard-Goldman will be presenting a case for the district. Kate Brown, Tony Kate Brown will be presenting a respective case for Mr. Pappas. As I stated, this is an open hearing. You're not entitled to any copies of the exhibits. I would just ask if you keep the phones down as best as possible. I'm not going to tell you can't. Record some things, but quite honestly, we're going to be here for a while. There were some, what I would call pre-trial discussions over this, or preliminary hearing discussions with the parties last week. I just want to let you know that our goal is to go as far as we can, or shoot for 9:30, 10 o'clock. That's very doubtful that we'll get through more than 2 or 3 witnesses of attorney tonight, and we've already had that discussion. We will probably look for a third day of hearing before we leave here tonight, just so that can be one close. This process itself is, like I said, under local agency law, and we have courts and photographer who has to maintain a record in what for, because ultimately people are going to write a closing argument in some way. That's usually called those findings of fact, conclusions of law, ultimately all that information, both the citizen lawyers, transcripts, briefs, and those findings of fact and conclusions by both parties, all come back to the board's directors too. After we get the transcripts and cases closed, we have one reason we'll call an executive session, discuss just like the jury deliberation, what we want all the evidence, testimony to see where this thing goes. I told everybody to keep an open mind. Was already instructed on that previously. We thought that last week, informational session, last week in informational session, we had one discussion. Keep in mind, the only thing that comes in is not able to be considered is the evidence and testimony. While I appreciate the active engagement with the public, you need to weigh in one way or another. Statements by individuals are historically considered hearsay. So unless somebody wrote statements actually involved, that is just a plain old hearsay, and it's not no question. It's somebody wrote 50, somebody wrote 20, it's what we hear presented. That's what the board's going to base its decision on. Board's been told blindly numerous times, keep an open mind, those parties are going to tell a story. You've probably seen on Netflix and other shows, there's always an alternate endings. Keep going with like his story in a certain way. Pappas is learning, would like to have a story in another way, therefore we have to keep going on. So that's where we're at. My job, if there is an objection to evidentiary matter or somebody says, well, it's hearsay, I'll deal with it at the time, not the board. And at this point, rather than talk to the board and land, I'm willing to ask if there's any preliminary statements before we go on record.
Very briefly, we would like to back up the district lead as an easy question.
Okay. So, do you have a location for them? It's easy to do all over. Okay. Good with that?
I did not bring any good testimony, that's fine.
Okay. And just the general rule as well, we don't have people going out of here and tell other people what will specify to, I'm pretty sure you want that to act one. Okay. Next. You're gonna have to speak into it.
I'm gonna ask for all witnesses to be seen by this is a problem.
Ready to do witnesses here?
We do have witnesses here, and respectfully, they're not testifying until tomorrow night. They're here as members of the public. So we do ask that they remain here to be able to communicate with them with the public.
Say things in.
Correct. As members of the public.
Well, I think that's persistent. They're the witnesses, but why would these are they within the general law? What?
I think it's their request, meaning you're asking for.
Yes, we are you.
Then I would ask that you, ask the witnesses to step out from their location, and, you know, and so everybody can be as objective as possible, you're going to do this back, 24 hour period. Okay, trying to balance it out. All right, any other preliminary matters? Procedurally, I would just ask you to state through, I don't think there's any objection for publication, a city year or anything else is reasonable, is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, so at this point in time, the stenographer can get the names of the school board members, I would just ask on the record to ensure the stenographer has full name, their card, they know who you are, etc. Mr. Baldwin, are you ready to proceed with an open statement or was that witness your preference?
Yes, yes, brief. Brief opening for the board, so that the board has context for the evidence that they're hearing, in the context of the decision for the meeting. We're here for a motion, Steve Pappas, not a dismissal, it's not a suspension. The motion, the issue, we're going to have to decide whether there's a basis to use. So the evidence on what decision is here, you should pay attention to the judgment of that particular issue. Mr. Pappas is a professional employee, that's the one in the school road, that needs to understand it. If he is doing it, he will still have an issue. After meeting with Steve Pappas to review the allegations about his conduct, considering his responses to the allegations, a decision was made to remove the principal and teacher. As a teacher, he would retain tenure and remain a professional employee. Mr. Pappas, on receiving notice of the promotion, has to choose to either consenting to the motion or to contest the motion before the hearing. He chose that as before the hearing, which is his right. Now it still brings us here today. This proceeding is established by the school code, more specifically under section 1151 of the school code, which incorporates by reference to the procedures and other sections of the school code. Words are said in section 1151, they interpreted in the administration has the burden of explaining the reasons for a reference to the motion. Once we do that, the burden shifts to the employee, Pappas, to prove that the decisions are arbitrary or capricious. Dr. Sternheim testified that Mr. Pappas' motion is based upon his admitted conduct and the suitable educational or latest instrument. The school district has broad discretion in making personal and administrative decisions resulting in motion. The school board's decision to result in doubt and irrational reasons sufficient to support the motion. And the motion will be overturned only if it's shown to be arbitrary. Burden and illusion here is minimal. The two questions basically require one of the things that are presented to the current movement, whether or not it's on the basis of motion. It's not a complicated issue, it's not a complicated matter. The reasons provided by the school district for this motion, comments and behavior that will be borne out by the president. Those reasons would end up reasons for the motion. The information provided in this hearing was great evidence that there is irrational reasons. You will hear about the influence and the problem of the state was the form basis of the city. Mr. Pappas is not suitable educated and not the normal basis of the city. Pappas was support Mr. Pappas' lack of judgment made it appropriate to be known. My administrator was support Mr. Pappas. You do not know Mr. Pappas you want to bring to your case, should you take a look at it?
I will wait to do the our case.
Okay, are you all going to be there for Steve? For this? And it's not working. They were like the students. All actually, that get part of the go to the way of now, that's not. I'll just ask you for others and sounds or something else or and if the public they still wants to go out. This order all and the issue and the arms like discussed over. We'll deal with others as they can possibly they don't have they probably said school district down my areas. The whole minute, hours, you know, that very strong and why students. I personally, this is first of all, you're gonna have to deal with sports for time. I would ask this, God first, Lord, and witness.
I affirm. Rita Sterner, as superintendent of Waynesboro Area School.
How long have you been superintendent?
As superintendent for 3 years.
How long have you been employed by the district?
This is my 34th year in Waynesboro Area School District.
What capacity were you employed prior to supervision?
I was a middle school teacher, This is the principal of either high school, elementary principal. This is the superintendent, environmental superintendent.
The employer in education prior to
Yeah,
You're responsible for the board issuing and state charges.
that's correct.
You can look at it, bottom here. And then probably.
Yes, this is taking the charges, we're writing all the area.
Did you have anything for stop?
Yes, I did.
This was presented to the board, or about the result there.
That's correct.
Did you base the allegation upon information regarding the chief and what's the potential violence?
Yes, I did.
When you discuss how this process.
This particular process of possession began in August. As a result of a series of incidents that involved Mr. Pappas that brought to my attention, through my assistant superintendent. And my concern was there was a frequency of, series of incidents that were problematic. And as a result of that, we then issued a investigatory interview process to seek an understanding in terms of some of the information that was shared.
You mentioned it in investigatory interview. How big is
This is a request for an investigatory interview with Mr. Pappas dated August 21st, 2021.
And that's your signature on that.
Yes,
You very much.
yes, I mean,
Let us why I know that will discussion.
that is correct.
And could you explain which monitors and how to be
Yes. Number one, a professional comment regarding the WAC presentation during the new educator workshop. That was brought to my attention by Dr. McCallum, as well as the Waynesboro Area Education Association leadership. That brought to my attention disrespectful comments referencing WAC food service during the elementary demo overview was brought to my attention from Dr. McCallum as a result of the conversation that she had with the two. That was also brought to my attention by Dr. McCallum in conversations with administrators, WAC Technology Department, a professional conference, and again, and the chief introduction. Number four was brought to my attention, on August 8th, as a result of a series of email exchanges, text messages, communication regarding meeting the library facilities library. And number five was brought to my attention, I guess the evening of maybe August 12th, indicating that, Mr. Pappas had led all of system to make a request to reinstate library books at Sunnyvale Elementary.
And each of these allegations or issues indicated to Mr. Pappas what your concerns were.
That is correct.
And you can look into the notes. What are the things to do?
This is an email exchange between myself and Mr. Pappas, setting up the investigatory interview mode. He's asking if it was a water bill, and I indicated it was not. And again, we're just communicating to give an opportunity to have an academic free member present, and trying to set up a meeting.
So I look at in order to several pages, there appears to be email communication with some of Mr. Pappas over August 16th. Through to the 22nd, is that correct?
That is correct.
In regards to that, we discussed.
Yes.
Well, they don't refer to. No, we're not referring.
This is the, the attached letter of the advisory interview for Monday, August 23rd.
That we know, not on that.
That's referencing, yes, it is that advisory interview,
That would be sent on that one person.
yes,
It looks like it's established, established the date on August 1 in the referendum.
that is correct.
Did you have any, Mr. Pappas?
Yes, we did.
Was the reference that you?
Dr. Connolly, assistant superintendent, and Paul Coleman, the director of human resources. Mr. Pappas, and, he elected to bring in fact 93 members, that was James Brown.
And if you look at exhibit 4, what matters?
This is following down that I got this to receive on August 27th. During the investigatory interview, we have a series of questions that we attempted to ask. During the course of the interview process, Mr. Pappas elected to share a variety of different concerns, issues, and as a result of that, I did not feel that we were able to essentially another review would have been necessary, only because of the nature of the items that he shared and the concerns that he shared and the individual names that he listed. It was essentially problematic to me, and I felt that we definitely needed to do some follow-up, in essence, that we weren't able to just stick to the investigatory review or other following that Mr. Harris weren't interested.
You're involved with the stop this work.
I believe, Mr. Pappas, wanted to ensure that, maybe Dr. Callum and Mr. Hoffman had some type of historical knowledge of other things that Mr. Pappas had reported in the district, other things that they were disciplined for in the district, opinions that he had regarding certain individuals in the district. We attempted to keep very focused on looking to ask these questions, and so it was a collection of information that Dr. McCallum was far next documented, and ultimately you can't have a meeting and make all those statements and not expect the possibility of a follow-up interview, right? I'm assuming that's what he wanted, and that's what this, let's do.
So, at this meeting on August 25th, whatever the issues that you presented to the one, correct?
That is correct.
Based upon that information, what was your general understanding of the thought process related to Mr. Pappas' conduct with them?
I believe I used the word combative, and I also referred to him as difficult.
Why was that? Why did they do
I believe that, Mr. Pappas, since he'd been through the process before, was somewhat confused or concerned that Mr. Huffman, who was the director of HR, was not asking questions. I think that might have concerned him. At one point, he did say, like, why is Mr. Huffman asking questions? I said, because I'm in the process of asking questions. During the course of the questioning process, he attempted to litigate like everything that's ever happened within the Waynesboro School District. And I kept trying to bring it back to the questions. At one point, it was an odd setup because I think he sat across with involvement in the meeting and asked the question. He was actually right next to me. And at one point he said to me, just be honest with me, Rita, be honest with me, you want me to resign, you just want me to resign. And my response to him was, Steve, I just want you to get along with me. During the course of the interview, he indicated that he had a lack of trust, for almost the entire district. And at one point I said, who do you trust? He indicated he trusted, James Level. And I believe I said, do you trust me? And his response was like, I hope you don't believe that, Rita. So ultimately, that was not our intent. Again, I think the concern was in the past, when things have happened, Mr. Pappas has indicated that there was way too much time in between incidents before they were addressed. And so essentially the intent here was to address a series of concerns over the month of August 2021.
At any time, you said you thought it was being difficult, and you said you did it, and you
I mean, I understand why he would be concerned. He knew that what the 5 topics we were going to talk about. And at one point he was asking who's talking behind my back, who said these things. And we indicated that based on how this process will roll out, that information may or may not be provided. So we just provide an explanation to the evaluation.
So you asked him if he said certain things, did he answer?
Yes, he did respond.
Did you feel that his answers were forthright and truthful?
I believe his answer, he was responding to his account of events, that's correct.
Based upon his answers, did you have concerns from that?
I actually did not anticipate it to be a difficult or challenging meeting. It was pretty straightforward. There was a series of 5 things. I was taken aback by how he responded. And again, I will recognize that he has experienced investigatory interviews in the past, so he probably was meant to respond to that.
So after the August 25th meeting, you had a second meeting, or there was a second meeting with him?
That is the email. I indicated that it went to the fact that he shared various concerns, comments, and feelings, reactions about certain people in the district that we should probably follow up. And that's was the reason for this email.
At the August 25th meeting, did he own up to the allegations? The knowledge, his mistakes, etc.?
He did speak to his role and an explanation of what he said or why he said it, but it did not necessarily align with the information that we have.
And you said there was a second meeting that came up after August 25th.
That is correct.
Do you recall when that was?
Pardon me?
Do you recall when that was?
Yes, I was not present at that meeting. I believe Mr. Hopkins sent an email September 4th, the meeting might have been September 8th. Honestly, due to Mr. Pappas's interaction with primarily me during the course of the meeting, I thought it was best if my assistant superintendent and my director of HR would follow up. I did not want to create a scenario that went that into Mr. Pappas and his second meeting, so that's why I elected not to attend.
Mr. Pappas, I indicate to you that you were crossing education.
I think Mr. Pappas over the years has indicated that he doesn't necessarily trust me, and there have been uncomfortable exchanges over the years.
So we had this meeting, Mr. Hoffman and Dr. McCann had this meeting on September 8th. Do you recall what came of that meeting?
We did follow up and essentially we were a little bit at a standstill. There really wasn't additional, reconciliation. I believe Mr. Monroe was also at that meeting. And as a result of that, we did follow up with the WASD Personnel Committee, to, discuss the potential next steps.
And did anything occur between September 8th and September 24th? To your knowledge?
To my knowledge, in reference to the investigatory or,
In relation to Mr. Pappas?
during the course of that time, in addition to the investigatory interview, there were additional concerns that I did not necessarily address, those were all addressed by my husband.
And you could look at exhibit 5. You have exhibit 5 in front of you?
Yes.
Can you tell us what exhibit 5 is?
Exhibit 5 is the, notice of administrative leave with pay and directives, that, he delivered to, Mr. Pappas, as some of you, and reviewed the document, on September 24th.
Do you draft that letter?
I guess I did.
And there's your signature on the correct?
This one, yes,
And just to conserve a little bit of paper, your documents all are two-sided, and you notice that or not? I'm not supposed to be true. All right, so on September 24th, is that the you met with Mr. Pappas?
yes, that was
And who was with you? And
Dr. McCown.
they understood?
Yes.
And why the decision to place him on administrative leave?
I was, directed, well, in essence, we decided based on the information of the investigatory interview, the fact that we haven't been able to move forward and really no type of resolution, some communication with the personnel committee and, the decision to, essentially look at outside counsel in order to, see additional, I guess, administrative support in investigating, situation.
And as part of the September 24th letter, there were a series of directions, correct?
That is correct.
In terms of the conditions, correct? And you said you hand delivered the letter to Mr. Pappas, is that correct?
Yes, I did.
And what if anything was discussed there?
We went to, Dr. Helen himself, went into Steve's office, we closed the door, and I did respond to Steve. I think I said, I believe you think, I'm not here to talk about this issue that transpired earlier that day. I said, I'm here to deliver this letter. Your will be placed on administrative leave, with pay. And I handed him the letter, and he said, what does the letter say? And I said, I'm not going to read it to you. And his response was, I'm not, do you write it? And I said, I'm not an attorney, I didn't write it all myself, but, you know, it is a letter of, basically putting on administrative leave with pay. And his response to me at that point, well, I'm not going to read it in front of you. And at that point, I was concerned and, you know, was getting emotional. So I said, not doing that with myself, we'll step out and give you some time. So he left and we sat on the stage area at Southern View Elementary for approximately 10 minutes. He got in. At that point, he was prepared to read the letter. He had his laptop, his badge, his keys, and he left the farm. He left his office.
And in terms of the allegations that we discussed a little earlier, on the letter on the first page, there are 6 terms and conditions that were applied to him. approach.
That is correct.
Three, number three.
You must refrain from discussing the investigation with student, parents, or district staff, except as authorized by me. Shall be right.
Now, with the number six.
You must comply with all directives issued by the district, following all applicable law.
So, and those are part of the discussion. Did you make any, additional discussion relating to those parts of the just?
Now, I did write the letter, but he did not seek clarification. If he did, I would provide that, and, it's a difficult situation, and so my concern is that, you know, he reviewed the letter, I'm more than happy to engage in a conversation, but it was apparent after I returned to his office, he had read the information and, was following through.
Okay, so at that point in time, you were actually going to pursue an investigation of those allegations, correct?
That is correct.
What was your concern at that point?
My concern, I guess, my concern was we had reached a point where we had unfortunately had a pattern of behavior, over the last decade, not necessarily following administrative directives, not being a team player, not necessarily demonstrating educational leadership.
So in the aftermath of handing him the administrative leave, what was the next step?
The next step was to, continue, with the investigatory process.
So in that period of time, August to September 24th, had any additional events occurred that became part of this issue?
Yes.
You could look at number 6, please. Do you have number 6 in front of you? What is number 6?
I noticed the allegations and opportunity to respond, investigate, meeting, and directives.
What would be referred to as allowed and be destroyed?
That is correct.
And that's provided with Steve Pappas be a certified mail,
Yes,
on or about October 17th.
yes,
And I noted that that includes 10 number of allegations.
that is correct.
And if I'm summarizing this, sake of brevity, item 1 was one of the issues that you may discuss with him earlier here.
We attempted to discuss this, yes, I did that reporting review on August 25th.
And number 2 was also one of the issues that was also discussed at that time.
Yes,
In fact, numbers 1 through 4 were all discussed, or the issues that were discussed between Harvard, right?
yes,
And number 5, I think we started to talk about the meeting on August 25th. That reflects, your allegations relating to his behavior during that interview.
that is correct.
And number 6 is an event that occurred on number 11 through 11.
Yes, I do.
What was that?
We had a situation at Summerview Elementary where a student, that was in a wheelchair, was transported by a van, had a situation with a, chairlift malfunction. As a result of the incident, we asked for statements, from all individuals involved, and one statement, when Mr. Pappas was asked to assist or come to assist, response and statement indicated I cannot push forward.
So the issue with number 6 had to do with the event that occurred after your initial interviews with Mr. Pappas, right?
Yes, it was totally unrelated, it was that is.
And the allegations that are listed under number 6A and B, those were brought to your attention with other staff.
Yeah, due to the nature of the incident, actually, with Mr. Pappas, who assisted in the process, we collected statements from individuals involved, to assess, you know, how the situation might have transpired, what was our response, you know, and just an overall evaluation of the incident. Very unfortunate.
And 6A and B reflect this, the concern related to Mr. Papps's response to that issue, is that correct?
That is correct. I believe that Mr. Pappas' response, he indicated he was on the phone working with a difficult family or parent situation. I believe in the statement it indicated like he would want to talk to his news, a teacher had requested assistance. He was on the phone, but it managed to respond, I did not push or pull. And the other response was from, I believe, the building secretary indicating that the school nurse was not in-house yet. I believe these are the program like you do. So that would be consistent with the school nurse not being as on with that.
Okay. So looking at number 7, that indicates that we just talked about the document where it's basically distributed, is that correct?
That is correct.
And those are issues that arose after that.
Yes, again, this was reported to me by Dr. McCallum. The teacher reached out to her with information indicating that she was made to feel uncomfortable when Mr. Pappas had been local with her.
And so the allegation from 7A through K were based upon information that was brought to your attention by Dr. McCallum.
Yes, Dr. McCallum spoke to the teacher, received information that day, and then a follow-up statement.
And to your knowledge, 7A through K accurately reflects what we were told by Dr. McCallum.
It is indicative of what was told, what Dr. McCallum documented in a phone conversation, and also what was documented by the teacher.
But my question is, the information is presented in 7A through K accurately reflects what you were told by Dr. McCallum.
Yes,
And then number 8 was an additional allegation that was not brought forward to that, is that correct?
that is correct.
Do you understand what that is?
I do. I was not part of the meetings during 2024-25 school year. However, this information was shared with me by our former assistant superintendent, Dr. Deshawn. And I believe there was some understanding from the personnel committee that there were some concerns expressed, and there was a belief that information had been documented regarding Mr. Pappas' interaction during these group meetings.
And I understand the allegation is that Mr. Pappas was making fun of the assignments and was making fun of the lack of leadership in the school district, is that correct?
That is my understanding.
And number 9 indicates prior suspension, 5-day suspension, is that correct?
That is correct.
Were you aware that prior incident discussion and subsequent filing suspension?
I was.
Can you tell us how what in that pertained to?
So there was a series of events. Colleen Gilby was our director of HR at the time. So she conducted an investigatory interview. And as a result of the investigatory interview, the 5-day suspension without pay, was disciplined and undertaken.
And The allegation indicates he received that suspension for making disrespectful comments, violating directives, language.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, I didn't, yeah, it was intended disrespectful comments, violating directions, violating chief.
Do you remember the incidents that caused the suspension?
I do,
And they're based on your information? Like, this allegation is based on information?
and it was reported information that was investigated over a period of time, and investigatory review was, conducted, to make a determination, and, like I said, at that time, Colin Bailey was our director of HR, she worked through those process.
And it indicates the suspension letter is referenced also in the prior disciplinary matters prior to that, is that correct?
That is correct.
And also noted that Mr. Pappas received the needs improvement rating in 2023 evaluation under professionals, is that correct?
That is correct.
And you are aware of that person?
Yes.
You've seen that correspondence?
Yes.
And you've seen the rating that you're.
Yes.
And the last one, number 10, is that the deals with Mr. Pappas regarding received disciplinary recommendations as far as 2018, correct?
That is correct.
They were for several values.
Yes, rather than not following chain of command, proceeding in his attitude, and lack of support of Mr. Hogan, lack of support of Mr. Green, which is the district, that would have been under a superintendent of the fall.
When Dr. was that Dr. Clarence, Dr. Klein was the superintendent, what was your position with the district?
I was the assistant superintendent.
Were you privy to the matters that Dr. Klein handled?
At times I was included, other times not. We at the time had a HR consultant, her name was Kathy McCool, who assisted in another of those, business.
Were you aware of the 2023 evaluation?
Yes.
Were you aware of it first?
Yes, I was the individual who, as a result of the, a letter of reprimand from 2023, in that time, I completed his evaluation, and within his evaluation, provided some annotated notes as to, the rating that.
Were you aware of the disciplinary matters where we that's for
Yes,
Okay, so if I understand correctly, this letter was sent to Mr. Pappas, he provided notice of these allegations and an opportunity to meet and discuss with you and review with the correct.
that is correct.
And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the letter indicates that the date of the meeting would be October 24th, exactly.
Yes, that was the date that we set.
Was that the actual date that you met with Mr. Pappas?
I believe that they requested the October 29th.
Who's that?
His attorney and Mr. Knox, I guess the officer of the fund wanted to know. First schedule.
Okay, and so that meeting was scheduled, Mr. Pappas, his attorney, so.
That is correct.
You are during that meeting?
Yes. And Mr. Hall was also there.
I didn't have it.
I apologize.
You look at number 7.
Yeah.
What have you been 7?
This is the transcript from the October 29th, 2025.
Second page, first page here, the column page. It is investigated into the school patches of that, right?
That is correct.
And if you look at the next page, or panel 5, from page 2, 3, 1, and 5, right? Still looking. Indicates who's present at fire.
That is correct.
Who was part of the community as well.
Hugo Bridger, Adam Brown, Steve, and Tom.
And you had a chance to review this transcript, right?
Yes,
Was it accurately depicted or seen itself?
Yes,
And that meeting, Mr. Pappas, there has been a meeting, right?
he did.
And all in ages 13, in my ages, I'm engaged in work on this new pattern, not the bottom. So on each pattern, on each page, there's work of page. You can look at what's marked as age 13. They're trying to and that is patterns for the on the reason for that. The third is 13 on frame is a track location one, right? You look at engagement on what was said, the location.
And it's responses to the allegation that were issued by his firm.
And I look at it, pains only incredibly. Just the good so here, there's no reflector than the out of base, prayer and the Lord, right?
That is correct.
Looking to take care of them, he's very. It's very important, as we said, these data are under the recognitions, very important. And you have to look clear. Very important to do the library education, right? Library.
Yes,
Removal is opposed to Mr. Pattis' response to operation.
that is correct.
Navigation is that he's director of document counting the library. And pretty terrible abuse of use.
That is correct.
And if you're looking at the page 34, bottom of that page, mentioned where it says, and then she did say, if you want to do this, you need to speak with Jennifer Smith first. I said, okay, thank you. What would you like to say to her? She's never responded to me with that. What is the problem with you about that response?
I find it problematic considering that I believe, in this conversation, or email that essentially asked Mr. Pappas to have a conversation directly with. This is regarding moving of the library books. That's something you elementary, so if we are now asking, probably not, like, what do you want to talk to her about? I think that's problematic, because I feel like it's taking responsibility, I think we never were talking about the clothes.
Do you have any responses to get?
I'm not understanding why principal with such experience, but ask the question.
You could look in from your very scholar. Page 30. As far as the job goes out, eating or speaking is in submitted. Mr. Pattis responded, I love the person who arrives, but and honestly, if I did not want to get into an open meeting or arguments, I did not trust that situation. Why that is for trouble.
Yeah, I mean, you're listening to the pattern. Perhaps not planning to have conversation or concern that there's trust issues. He is a building person. Southern Elementary is his building. Jennifer Smith is a teacher. She was assisting a new librarian at Southern Elementary with the family, and she was acting as her mentor. So ultimately, you know, I guess I'm trying to read the email exchanges that this meeting process went on since like July 31st. It was over a period of days. And I mean, I don't know, I was a building principal for 17 years, and I would have had a conversation, with Jennifer Smith, but as he indicated, for some reason, he didn't trust his position, so as opposed to following government council directive, he said, I'm not the supervisor, so I can't talk to her.
It's relating to right?
Well, I mean, it's a technical problem, so, like, I get it, you're a building principal, you want to know what process that you use to eliminate the goals. And as a result, like, she had a conversation with the individuals involved and not necessarily elected to involve the assistant superintendent in their conversation regarding that.
Can I also, do you mind, did you mind trouble that he didn't want to talk to this? Because he said,
Wow. Again, I said, watching this cloud, but unfortunately that is the response oftentimes that, in fact, because that individual or trust issues that as a result, I simply don't have a conversation.
yes, program for this year.
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Where are you? On your answer to the question, if it's that question, so long as it's and I did speak to the librarian, obviously, and I had all my answers from that librarian, obviously. My answer.
Well, we had the answers by almost me, I'm not sure why we're still following folks, following people. I believe I did see email Jennifer offered to me, I think there's a disconnect for a number of days that they were in the building that, not submitted on vacation and we had an admin event, so there might be a little bit of a disconnect, I believe. Obviously, there was an email exchange with Jennifer indicating that she was willing to meet with him around the meeting process, that many questions, and at that point, it already elected to move forward with a plan with the books. And I believe his response was, no, I understand the meeting process, I'm good, I have a plan. So I don't know what that plan was, but, that was communicated in my office meeting.
I understand what you're saying, Smith offers, but it's probably explain Mr. Pappas, what she had done, which was inputs.
I believe that the meeting exchange indicated that she was willing to explain the process, the fact that she is a librarian in another school, this was in this school now, but she was actively in a mentoring capacity within the library.
Part of the issue, I understand correctly, was that Mr. Pappas told following. Who's fault?
Fallen is essentially the vendor that looks with all of our library collections.
Ultimately, I'm not saying this Mr. Pappas is stuck following resetting the library system, correct?
He indicated that he wanted to reset the fallen virus system quality by he's asking for something to go through. So in essence, the full set that he needed, by the librarians was last week. I believe his goal was to put it back in the collection. And then, that's why he let us call to, require us to run our stuff.
If I understand it correctly, we had a discussion with Alan, relating to better enough to do that.
I think he told Dr. Young and called and after he did, like, he didn't ask permission to call, he basically gave her aware and he called.
You look at says, and she, well, yeah, you lost anyone in the district, and she said, if we want to do that, I want you to switch terms. The term is doing that. She said,
Yes, I mean, in the years, because then, like, consistent messaging is, please talk to Jennifer Smith. And all it was called, and then, again, recognizing that, really the phone call was made whether or not the system was gonna be reset, not recognizing it had implications for the entire district. I believe Dr. McDonald's directed us, I need you to speak to Jennifer, please just reach out to Jennifer.
and if I look at number 23, we indicate that he spoke, it is library. But I did mention it's my library when I met with her. You know who he's referring to?
That would be this new library and then you saw, that one.
At that time, she was right.
Yeah, she, I mean, she's an educator, she had worked in another, school for a period of time, but she was definitely new as a librarian, so, we are very appreciative that she is serving in active capacity, but she does not come from a library science background. So therefore, I believe that as Jennifer Smith, it was appointed as like a mentor, she needs mentoring in this process.
So when I met with her, and she gave me the customer service. I'm assuming he was referring to Paul, is that your assumption as well?
That would be my assumption, yes.
Would that have been a good reason to speak with Jennifer Smith first? Where we could speak with his library?
Well, I no disrespect to Lindsay, I feel that she has a very limited understanding of what all her even does in the library system, so, I mean, it's, better option would have been, like, I'm thinking about calling Wallet, you know, maybe asking Jennifer, or even talking with Dr. McCallum prior to calling. Because I think if you would have reached out and said, I'm thinking about calling Wallet to reset all the books, that's something you don't think the challenge response probably would have been, have you talked to Jennifer about this process? Because essentially, we had a number of individuals like work over a period of time, and I believe this process was they're trying to undo, which is understandable. Like if you're a school principal, you might have an understanding of what books are in your library, but I believe that they were following the process and they were essentially doing what they thought needed to be done. And by resetting, and it was like we spent a week worth of time, and now it's going to be reset. The system will help.
One question, question.
Sure.
When they were sent the database, I think that was Pappas was clearer and I think the controls were the same. They reset the process, they reset for the entire district, not just for one site, correct?
I do not recall the actual conversation. I do know that in the transcript provided by Paulette, he made the inquiry, he inquired about resetting the system, but he also indicated that that would have to be approved by Dr. McCallum. But I don't believe Paulette elected to follow up with Dr. McCallum.
But my question was,
Sorry.
in order to reset, you couldn't just reset one school site.
No, I mean, no, to my knowledge, like, when I was made aware of this, I was a little confused because I didn't understand why I was being called in the first place. I would have to look at the transcript to determine why I do not believe Mr. Pappas had the intention reset of the entire district. He was asking for something to be elementary. My concern once again is that he acted in a way that, I mean, he came up with a solution, but that wasn't part of the discussion up until that time.
If you could look at page 44. And he said, there's a question here, how much he has authority to reset the database, and he said, well, according to the company, it was a K-12 thing, so I would say no. So, according to Mr. Pappas, the information that was relayed in that conversation, he's saying it's a K-12 thing, it's not an individual building, correct?
I need to levy that objection. We've been asking a lot of leading questions throughout the rec testimony and today. And now we're paraphrasing the transcript to the witness and asking the leading questions to the witness. I'm just going to ask how really mindful of not asking leading questions during the rec testimony.
Fair enough. Trying to get it to page lines as very fast.
On page 44, after that is that Mr. Pappas says, but I have no idea what interactions librarians have with it when it comes to the bull roster. I have no idea what process, that's why it was cut off. The next question. Would that have been, were you concerned by that answer? They had no idea what interactions librarians have with follow.
I'm concerned that he elected to call Paula with not having an understanding of the potential interaction.
Who might he have contacted that might have that information?
He could have contacted perhaps Jennifer Smith or maybe another librarian in the Waynesboro Area School District.
Okay, page 48. Now, the first question, he was asking, and you didn't think that she would have done it. She was asking you to talk about the reset. Sir, that was his response, no, sir. Are you concerned by everything?
Again, I'm not understanding why continue to belabor the directive from Dr. McCallum that he was to talk to Jennifer Smith regarding the concerns in the leading process, and then go back to asking Dr. McCallum again, like, why are you, what you trying to talk to Jennifer about? So I would infer that the conversation should have been about fall and reset. I apologize, I'm not as familiar with this particular circumstance as I am from the others.
On page 49, he said it's typical that supervisors want you to kind of take care of your own problems the best that you can. So that's what I was doing. You were concerned with your time. Or did you have a
Yeah, I think, but I'm not someone concerned for the thing, a little bit of an oxymoron, in terms of, I was once told, it's not what Steve Pappas tells you, it's what he doesn't tell you. So, I believe that.
All right, folks. Allow me to answer the question. But then,
I think it came all for the impact it had upon the rest of us in the truth.
and local agency, there's pretty wide flexibility. We have a pretty smart group on it, jury members here, work members, sort of talk about that as part of the deliberations.
So continue working.
So Mike, essentially what I was trying to indicate, is that if he had a plan to resolve the concern that he had regarding the library books at Summit View Elementary, The plan that was outlined by Dr. McCallum was not something he was willing to engage in, because he did not trust, to have a conversation with Jennifer Smith. Maybe he could have had a conversation with another librarian. So he elected to move in a direction to call a vendor to reset a system in order to address his concerns regarding the library.
Do you know if the system got reset?
It was reset, yes, I did find out, I guess, on August 13th was the day that we had it in service there.
How did you find out?
I was informed that I was in Fairview Elementary, and they were saying they weren't able to get into the library system, I was in the library area. And then I called up the doctor and found it was there, and said, no, he's sure, so it's one of them,
What if anything they done in the area?
They indicated that, that the system had been reset, based on a phone call initiated by Mr. Pratt.
And if I understand correctly, the reset was district-wide.
Yes.
So that means that any matters that had been dealt with in the other buildings would have been undone as well. Is that right?
Yes, temporarily until we were able to restore the reset.
And was Mr. Pappas there at the building?
He was absent.
Oh, why he was there?
I believe he took a sick day.
Is that unusual for him?
Objection relevance.
Or is that he is performing that meeting as well?
Your absence is not referenced in any charge and function.
Yes, it's related, yes.
It's related to the fact that that's how Mr. Pappas did his justice.
Well, as for what I'm going to do. Okay. Move on, objections, and.
Give me the answer to the question.
Either repeat the question.
Was that unusual?
No.
Why was it not unusual?
If we review the, Mr. Pappas and Lieutenant, oftentimes he is absent following a stressful situation or during, professional working in service.
Yeah, I'm just going to object to respond, I'm about to strike that from the testimony. Again, it's not reference to charge, it was a reference to investigation, it's not relevant for this report. It is intended solely to attack Mr. Pappas and having nothing to do with the allegation from the report.
I will, you want to comment? I understand the objection. If he wants to develop that, which later on as part of the case of G, was put in some record, making a patient, addressing part of his fault and those findings, credibility, part of that, we certainly consider the motivations involved, just, reflects the implication things in the, and why we have
This land.
So, continue, all questions, right?
If you could look at page 15, on page 15, number 75, Mr. Pappas was addressing the allegation of fraud.
Yes.
If I understand, the allegation relates to the August 1 interview, and there are And now 7 sub-allegations related to that Victoria and Mr. Pappas' behavior. And you alluded to some of that being related to testimony. Number 5 indicating that he was bad with Mr. Pappas denied with the being invested. That caused you into concerns with the quality of things being invested.
I guess it's a matter of interpretation. I did not anticipate, him to respond the way he did. I viewed it as combative, and I believe Dr. McCallum and, Mr. Huffman might also agree. I recognize it's a difficult conversation. You can have, interactions that are a little animated, but it was a little, it was more than I have experienced in the past within the investigatory process.
Have you ever been in an interviewing process with an administrator where they became that combative?
Now that, no.
Have you ever been in an interview where someone has asked you if they wanted them to resign?
No.
Mr. Pappas on page 61 indicated that he said to you, Rita, would you like me to resign? Is that correct?
That is correct.
He did say that. And how did you respond to it?
My response is, I remember he asked me twice, and I said, Steve, I just want you to get along with me.
Why did you put him in the air to want him to resign?
I find it odd in the sense that he already asked me earlier about whether it's a law bill, we were just doing the investigatory interviews, so I was, trying to, assist in an investigatory process for, a series of 5 allegations, so, this wasn't about him resigning, it was just to seek clarification to what he was, what his narrative was during, those incidents that were shared with him.
So during the allegation number 5 was released in the August 25th meeting, did you find it troubling that he asked if he wanted to resign?
I feel that that particular question was out of order in the sense that it was not meant to be, it was a conversation, and immediately he went to the response, like, asking me, and I wasn't asking him to resign, we were asking him to answer a series of questions, so it does speak to his lack of professionalism in that particular circumstance.
And if you go on page 62, the last line, he mentions Mr. Weatherall said it sounds a lot like it's some kind of distraction. And did you feel that in any of the questions that you were asking on the 25th of August were distracting questions?
No.
Did you think it was appropriate for Mr. Pappas or Mr. Weatherall to indicate that they felt that they were being distracted? Or that he was being distracted?
I don't recall exactly what Mr. Weatherall said that particular day. I'm not sure if he used the word entrapment. He might have suggested that, like, this, like, some of these things would make him upset as well. So I think he was essentially saying he understands why Steve might have been frustrated or upset. But I don't see any of the questioning as entrapment.
And page 63, the question was asked if he didn't ask if anybody to talk to you behind your back on words the next day. And Mr. Pappas' response was, I might ask, where's that coming from, or what would he say? So the allegation is that he said, who's talking about me behind my back? His explanation was he just wanted to where the information is coming from, what the context is. And that, John, your understanding of how it was asked?
Not really. I mean, I think he had the question and he meant like what we were gonna talk about. And so when we were essentially going through the questioning, he was, I guess, frustrated that he thought people were talking behind his back and they weren't giving accurate information. He wanted to know who the people were. And I mean, it was more directed towards, because I was next to him, I think he was talking primarily to Dr. McCallum and Mr. Hoffman, who said very little during, that particular story, because we were just trying to get some questions.
During your conversation on this 25th with Mr. Pappas, one of the allegations is that he said something to the effect that he'll be employed here longer than you.
That's correct.
Is that what he said?
Yes.
And when you were talking to him about that on August 25th, is that, did he say use those words?
Yes. Yes, he did.
Now, when he was asked if that was accurate, he said, yeah, he said it is accurate. But he said he had a different context for saying that because his retirement is later than yours. So you like that answer?
I just, again, I'm looking at objections. We're paraphrasing the text of the transcript in asking the leading question. So again, I'm going to ask that we please, on direct, ask a question on edited on direct, unless this is adversarial.
I don't believe I'm leading with this. I haven't seen it.
I would just once again take the superintendent, that particular portion of the transfer. As per reading, you can read a portion of it and ask for her opinion, as you just said, not paraphrase. Do you buy that?
I think that's what I did ask.
I know, those are the council, is this meeting, this bond, it's back, you know, why in the section. What are we calling on these guys, that actually. I believe that's
fine. If you're looking at page 64 is 65, we're looking at the response where it says, is that accurate? It is accurate. Can you read your opinion or that's yourself? Is that an accurate prediction of what occurred at the meeting on August 23rd? As far as that goes.
It is definitely an accurate statement that I have more years in administration than Mr. Pappas, and I will retire before Mr. Pappas went in life. I believe in the context of the exchange during the investigatory interview, that was not what he was suggesting. That's my interpretation.
At the meeting on August 25th, Mr. Pappas indicates he did not trust you.
Yes.
You could look on page 65 and read that. Starting after it says all right.
Really take the procedural line, so it's well, I'm going to say one last page, mistake.
Is that accurate? Is line 7, she can report that.
Is that accurate? What we're talking about there?
Yes, it's your stuff. Thank you. You reveal the case is one of these things. That might be your information would occur on the 25th.
I believe that some of the information is inaccurate. I don't recall exactly what the trust conversation came up. And I think at one point I said, I hope you can trust. And he said something like, why would I trust this district? Why would I trust people? I don't recall exactly. And then I said, well, do you trust me? And his response is, if you want me to be honest, no. Or something along those lines.
So his recommendation would like for it to not actually fire back based on what you just said.
Yes, I don't, I mean, like, I'm really falling into the best of my ability.
Or concern you have any other question?
I think it's problematic, only because I've got worked or tried to work with him, since 2017, and, there have been some challenges along the way, but I've been trying to, counsel him and, work through some of the difficult situation, but, obviously he does not perceive, me as an individual that he can trust. However, and he is accurate that same concern across the board. With numerous people within the medical district.
And that is probably admitted he does not trust us.
I can only speak to my experience, the Waynesboro School District. And I do find it problematic that a principal would say that to a superintendent, and that's not a good positive working relationship. I don't know exactly, other than prior experiences, investigatory interviews, like that, there's a pattern here that has probably made it challenging for him. But I would hope that the administrative team, we can disagree on situations, but still work collaboratively together. Because we're here for the school district, we're here for our learners, we're here for our families, our communities. So if you don't have a trusting relationship with the individuals of the school district, that makes it very problematic.
But so, at the office, meeting with, who else was present?
Jason Weatherall was, Mr. House, this, 993 representative, Mr. Baldwin, and, Dr. Dow.
So if I understand it correctly, where he said was planting, but it was John, and I said that he would drop, you are the one with us, what? That's considered the top cities.
Yes.
So, did you take that, you really had to have stuff from Calvin, Mr. Ross?
I'm hopeful that he did, but I'm not gonna be in front of that. I mean, he has told me in the past that he doesn't trust Mr. Weatherall. So we haven't really had any engaging conversation about who do you not trust in the Waynesboro School District, whether Mr. Weatherall is an individual that he does trust.
You were engaged in the some trust about the okay. They were said.
I can't speak to, no, you're not speaking to that.
Do you look at page 17? One was the green green, and the other was that page, and all the way down to page 71. You read that to yourself. Very conversation. Question was there, do you believe the town was Waynesboro development to start? This was asked.
Never mind, we're interpretation.
That's his answer.
That is, he is responding based on his interpretation of the settle. I would, he is saying that he do not perceive himself as being disrespectful. I mean, disrespectful was more, it was more combative and like just a argument. Which I guess is disrespect.
Look at page 76. You know, pages, responding to allegations, says one of these things. And this is comment that he did not respond to her response. He did not respond by indicating error. Instead of what it says, that's a practice statement.
That is not consistent when the state is going to be seen regarding that situation.
On page 77, was that we page 77, line 2, you know, for that page. When you in the video, I think it's back.
I have taken a number of videos related to the development.
You go into page 78. How far is the first part of the understanding the video?
The video does not indicate this information. The video is obvious. So, from the video, I can't respond on the side of respond that this is not consistent with the statements that he has. Or that were essentially turned in that would be with him. Yeah. I know there were several who had been taken to court to the scene. And Mr. Johnson insisted with his indication that he was taking care of an emergent family. And issued the dollars, so.
He mentions he was on the cell with their friend.
That is correct.
Mr. Pappas. The application, person, and he did not appear. He did not respond if he was able to.
Yeah, in other words, we say it's all turned in, or reviewed, and find that information. We're trying to piece together the parties all what was said, so this is not consistent with, being verbally, Mr. Pappas is not getting there.
So, Mr. Pappas' explanation that you want to know from all of the program had to be first, students should write.
That's correct.
Why is that a problem?
I think it's a problem. I mean, in light of this particular circumstance, we are all, anyone who's got to be a building principal knows that in the course of the day, there's going to be a variety of things that require our time and attention. This particular incident was pretty significant. And that being said, you know, recognizing that, like, a lot of phone calls, the work people are involved in this, so he could have walked out maybe with a cell phone if necessary. He could have, asked the parent or just address the situation. It was early, they were not, like, the teachers are not, actually, they did not come in until like maybe 10, so in terms of all hands on deck, we could have been in the building principal, the building secretary, and maybe every teacher involved in it. So, I guess I would have liked, if I would be within appropriate to ask the parent or whatever situation, they say, if I need to attend something outside, I'll give you a call back, or you can walk outside with yourself, because that's the situation.
And based on your recollection of Mr. Pattis's statement, you recall what the issue was with the student all alone. You recall what that's about?
I believe you said it was about a parent or a grandparent that, was concerned because, we're very powerful, we lost their parent or something of that nature.
In your mind, then, probably words that you can look on, right?
As a response to our families and our learners, if there any issue that really has, we're gonna take that into consideration. And I'm not aware of the actual, conversation, but it's in light of the fact that there was an emergency situation outside of the building, and the teacher wasn't really even on premise, and that what didn't necessarily have to be that a more appropriate response would have been, I need to call you back, like, if I need to attend something, would give you more access as well.
Based upon what you're understanding of Mr. Pattis's explanation, do you feel that his excuse was sufficient, or why he did not respond?
I was unaware of the nature of this conversation, but based on, if I had two situations going on, and if you're upset on the phone, the grandparent, and a child that's potentially in crisis, because of a malfunction of the chair, I would believe that the child outside would take the priority because of the safety issue. So, from my perspective, yes, that was a concern that eventually evolved as a result of looking at it and essentially the wall assisted on that day. And he's very blessed to have a great ability and lots of teachers did this. But he was in his office with, taking care of everything.
And at some point he did come in, right?
Yes, I'm not able to verify that, on any type of video. I believe some of the statements indicate that Mr. Pappas did for a period of time, yes, and then we'll have to.
You look at pages 85 through 100. believe that you will respond to the allegation you presented.
You did say that he wanted to upon, correct? Just to be clear, that's allegation, mistake, correct, and
Yeah. Also, proves that yes, that is correct. That was the answer to notice allegation percent.
That is not.
You look at page 86.7. Sorry, with word on line 6, there's a mechanic. You read with her hand,
No,
on those pages, Mr. Adams admitted that something in page 7B or after, correct?
that is correct.
Reading down, reading her that page, it's the line time the next week. Actually, line brings anything with that is also accurate first.
That is correct.
Then there's a discussion related to remainder allegation 7D and beyond. On page 87. Remaining on. Is that correct?
Yes.
Like in your page 89, Mr. Pappas' explanation is consistent with the information that you received from the teacher involved.
Now,
And cause you any concern.
was there evidence for me, in the status tab, we have two versions of the stories, not one for that day.
Can you tell me why Mr. Pappas' story is shocking you?
Well, up until this point, we had only had the information, from the teacher, and so therefore, there's really not, other than being in the same restaurant, there's no consistency.
On page 90, Mr. Pappas provides an explanation as to the teacher involved and his interaction with the crowd.
He provides an explanation as to not the interaction at the restaurant, but perhaps an interaction that might be closer prior to his leave.
And that caused me to be concerned.
I wasn't able to, this was new information to me. I wasn't able to verify if Dr. McCown was in a position to speak to this more. I was, there was not understanding any type of involvement by our director of HR, Dr. McCown, the person that he had asked to be assisted, Mrs. Bridges, you know, supervisor of the special education.
In that, taking drawing meetings and sitting conversation, it indicates that she told me she knew I was doing this first. Have you already seen it?
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, she sort of says she, I was supposed to be doing this first, she told me, gave me directives, and then I met with these, and my MTSS coordinator, just be there on the
So, yeah, so that, I'm sorry, the MTSS coordinator, he said that there was a meeting, and I guess my concern is that if there were directives that were so like if the teacher was being asked to redirect behavior from a disciplinary perspective or not on directives, that is definitely within the realm of building principle, but I don't understand why an MTSS coordinator is also a teacher who's in that same meeting. So it was disciplinary in nature. The teacher had the ability to ask for a representative, but it appears that there was an MTSS coordinator. I haven't verified and can't really represent that meeting, I'm not sure.
Let me ask you a question. It indicates they were going to be meeting at the board meeting or did rid of the teacher and the NCS coordinator, they are just tomorrow as the witness. That appropriate to have a teacher sitting on another teacher's disciplinary meeting as a witness?
If the teacher being disciplined is electing to have someone present, that's their right, we tell them that. If it's being presented in this way, it appeared that the witness was there for Mr. Pappas.
Well, that's my question. Is it appropriate for Mr. Pappas to have another opinion finally operating the meeting as a witness? That's not related.
Again, if there was disciplinary nature, absolutely not. It is very common to have teacher meetings, but if there is a difficult situation that you have to address, you often make that teacher aware. And then you oftentimes say, since it may involve disciplinary action, we have the right to bring a representative. But like a principal should not select who the representative is. But I don't know if this was disciplinary or just a conversation, but it appears as if it was uneasy because she wasn't happy with me. So it appears that it might have been disciplinary in action.
If it was disciplinary in action, would that be appropriate?
It would not be appropriate if this was disciplinary in action and to have a teacher present that was not selected by the chief that is being disciplined.
You ever had to deal with any other principals for doing that?
Objection. This is not relevant. This is not one of the charges that are looking at Mr. Pappas. We will allow the question to be one long after. Unless there's an offer of proof as to how this is relevant, I ask that we please move on.
Mr. Pappas raised the issue in his statement in the investigation.
So it's saying it goes
Does credibility also goes to that information, also goes to if we, credibility in case of the other witness?
Respectfully, they're bringing up additional allegations at this hearing here today, playing on a hypothetical that our superintendent doesn't even know actually happens.
And again, it was brought up by Mr. Pappas that it occurred, or was going to occur.
when one of the other witnesses would actually progress.
So then why do you have a Mr. President?
So we're going to move on. But I'm still going to allow it because it's probably because it's
During a conversation with Mr. Pappas on pages 92 and 93, if you look at those pages. You know, we're gonna be pages. Those pages, Mr. Pappas, and that's correctly whether again, the person was lying, plays in the story. And Mr. Pappas indicated, yeah, she was lying. Her story's no match. The reason for that is because she lied. That hasn't read that.
That's my interpretation, yes.
You find that true?
Essentially, was there was two different stories, in terms of what happened that day, so yes, it's from.
No, my question is the trouble in your story. One question is the trouble you see that it holds another standing on the line.
I mean, absolutely, I mean, we're in a situation where, you know, we work around together, but I mean, I can believe that in this particular case, Mr. Pappas, provided his interpretation of what, he thought transpired that day, is in contrast to what was reported, by the teacher.
Did you make any conclusions relating to this Pappas' comments relating to this issue?
I did find it interesting that, that there were statements related to, in the teacher's, statement that essentially did happen. I mean, it was an accurate indication of what happened in Mr. Pappas' office that day. The door was closed. I did take the letter out of my purse. I'm not sure how that information would have been. When he did. So the concern was that there was some sort of a tremendous amount of accurate information in the teacher's statement regarding the exchange that happened behind closed doors in Mr. Pappas' office.
And Mr. Pappas, all of our explanation is that the teacher wanted to know that information.
I believe in this testimony, he had suggested that the teacher was outside or near his office at the end of the day and wanted to talk to him. So he believes that there was a possibility that he or she overheard the conversation in his office.
What would be involved with that?
I believe the time, and I did not see the teacher. We were only in the office for probably maybe 5 to 7 minutes. We left and then we returned. The accuracy of my interaction with Mr. Pappas that day in the office that Dr. McCown was also there, is very similar, I mean, it's essentially what the teacher reported, that he had said at the restaurant. So that is what's concerning to me, that if we're behind closed doors, and we're using inside voices, and we're there very short period of time, left and being back, out of that story was then communicated out.
Did you verbalize any of the instructions that were in that letter?
I did not.
So you just handed in the letter?
I handed in the letter, I think he said to me what it was about, and I said that they're being placed on administrative leave with pay. And he said, what's the letter say? And my response was, Steve, you didn't read the letter. And he said, I'm not going to read it in front of him. And at that point, Dr. McCown and I looked at each other and I said, well, give me a few minutes of time. We can read the letter, I'll come back.
When you left, did you see anybody outside of the steps through the office?
Yeah, we went through the nurse's office, we just sat on stage in the gym. Harmony, the secretary was seated, I believe, at her desk.
Looking at page 100, one of the agreements, Mr. Patterson, that explanation related to allegation, correct?
That's correct.
And he essentially did not give you allegation, correct? Never.
Yeah, he says no, sir. And then there's the students there, so he did not, recall, being disrespectful or sorry back against you.
And page 101, I'm going to read to you. It was asked, so the other administrators who were present, he said to his daily line, he said, yes, sir. That answer is probably wrong.
It does. I mean, unfortunately, it was suggesting that, there are individuals here in Waynesboro City District that are electing to are Steve on a regular basis right now.
Do you know who raised the decisions?
About the NCSS meeting, teachers, administrators, and our former student superintendent, Dr. Todd Sharp.
Any of the liars as far as you look concerned?
I'll let her rephrase it, but I don't want to take on the space.
Ultimately, I feel that, so that we're all human, and to the best of our ability, we will, if we're recalling a situation like today, or any circumstance, we have our own personal narrative, we also, have our experiences, and ultimately, the pattern that I have experienced with Mr. Pappas is he very much since I became his supervisor in 2017. He believes that individuals do fabricate information about him. So I'm not answering that question, that I'm asking anybody in line at one time. So the concern is that there has been a consistent pattern And you can talk to the individual on the identity that he believes that people in the community, parents, students, teachers, admin, school board members lie about. I'm done.
Anyone work? You find that troubling? Find it troubling that you refuse to do these issues and other is definitely really serious for over.
Yes,
Why?
because I do not have that experience. I've not had that experience with other administrators, other tutors, other supports that we always have situations that could be problematic and there may be two sides of the story. I unfortunately, that has been a consistent message, from Mr. Pappas to our current supervisor.
It needed to be found from pages 100 to 107 in our application as we were in the application over the month. There's accurately, I might have to, 24/7 address the population.
Yes.
And that obligation has to do with property support.
That is correct.
And you'll see that the year in 2024, we had seen 5-day suspension down pay, similar behavior. And that August 2nd, 2024, suspension also to the project that in August and October 2023, is that correct?
That is correct.
You also, in the allocation, you said, you always saw the second letter also refers to tracking improvement rating for his 2023 evaluation of the professional sector.
That is correct.
And if you his answers, he had been considered prior to this one, correct?
Yes.
Also refers to page 106 and 107 to his evaluation, that's correct, right?
That is correct.
And I believe it says we indicate that he moved on from the things that you see that?
There is questions.
That page of line,
I don't think.
I'm trying to find it actually, I'll address.
I don't recall some things, I just gave a change to my comments.
He indicates, I'll strike that, on page 160, where he indicated Robert's level to his 23 evaluation, is that true?
That is correct.
Can you tell me what significant about that?
What I think was going on, we had a situation where Dr. Deshawn was the innocent defendant. I also worked on the evaluation process, within the system, we can evaluate, numerically, and was the opportunity to provide annual information. Because of the 2023 letter program, we received a award, in May 4. And that information was communicated to parents in his evaluation. Then within the PA TAP system, I provided some narratives about each one of the parents. Those have been submitted in the system by the in September. And I never heard anything from Mr. Pappas, so I assumed it would be moved on. And then in April, I received responses to each one of my, shares. I asked him why he was so long to reply, and his response was, I have it done, but I never hit submit. And so there were some things in there that were a little alarming and concerning, so my suggestion to him was to follow up with, guilty, if he had some additional concerns. He was very proficient in the area. I was just following to run the feedback.
And Yvonne will pay tomorrow's tickets. He said, I believe I asked more in my microphone with Mary moved on.
So my response, even I made the demands, there's the comments we wanted to make. And so some of them were, very alarming, so I followed with, guilty and then we can follow again. And, here's what got me, and it's all that time, and he said, made another statement, and then he got it, he said, I can't recall. But, it was not meant to be, from my perspective, I was getting false, that was 2022. So I read that, so nothing else on me, and it happened the year before, back in there was, so, I would ask anyone why get it back to that. Already where it's September, and it's possible, I don't keep, and I just don't see it now. So, you move on, you're thinking, the response. Or like, the way that you offer, and, we can put another comment and follow and line.
You said you were alarming, Trump, you used the word alarming, what was alarming in this response?
I don't have any information in front of me, but I believe that every statement I would give was positive about my and get a recommendation. There was that was next to, I don't think the reaction didn't necessarily match the problems. Along the lines that you would, I encourage you to communicate more other things with other people. I like to continue on so leadership role, leader of the veterans, I think it wasn't meant to be a laboratory. I didn't use, I believe, people to take it. The letter of recommend, yeah, letter of recommend that I'm by, we have to agree. If that they need to, and then they do that.
What is it, accounts? About whatever, wage goes. Version is what we have. School district to 1/7.
It is.
When you go to that, you go like, there's nothing being created, it's not one line, the whole thing was great.
That is correct. That is correct.
Your kilometers, are 89.3.
That is correct.
This is that, this is responsibility, legal, heard, 164%.
That is correct.
Is the responsibility for referring it?
Yes.
How many report goals, strength,
Mine, in each one, the other days, if I read through it, I'm providing a positive, regarding this to the strategic leadership, development street. And his response is not corresponding to the feedback I'm providing. He then says, makes comments suggesting that the local EPA dashboard was altered. I myself, my designee, and making corrections on myself. The screenshots were like, not the everything was altered. I mean, if I can read these some of these, I don't really necessarily have to. But what I try to do is essentially say, if these are the strategies, and these are potential areas of Berkeley. If it's not meant to be, I might just, I guess, take it back by the response. They did the same thing, the year before, and received, I can think I got a response. They received, vision ratings and rated domains. And then I had one to improve it. So I guess, if there was a delay, I would have said, like if he did it to the deadline, but my response to him is that he's already what he was suggesting, and I think and so therefore he can follow up with as a field deeper additional guidance.
On the third page, or second page, at the bottom, we have the care page at the top. There's young, professional, and community leadership. That being document, that the organization was down the inside for these.
Yeah, he's super good in the on the version. Okay, that is correct.
And he mentioned right. That area, really, the area of professional tools, looks to certain local release.
because it was not the first time we received a, he said, represented them to you with it. It was essentially addressed in the latter of the and
Can you go ahead and respond to the appropriation?
I will not
What?
and it didn't match the narrative that, I mean, I was, each one of these meetings, I provided a positive, reflection of what I observed. And then I did provide a suggestion that there's like something I expected that when you read this, he might want to follow the one that is the guy, because he has a response to the or I mean, I feel like there's gonna be,
I mean, yeah, it is what?
I mean, I was,
First of Jeremy, but as a Jeremy was in the thought, we don't read, evaluations. So I know really, but personally, the spirit of the game. I want to have a part where we are all good, I can't, change. Although this day, I guess,
well, the board,
I'm not asking her to.
yeah, I just wanted to clarify my understanding.
I just want to know if there was anything else that was wrong. If you
So again, I go back to the response, like, I provided some guidance, I provided some areas of improvement, I recognizing where, what areas he excels in, and for each, demand, his response is negative and challenging, and it doesn't take, I don't even recognize that there was any positive information within that information, but it's really confusing to me. I mean, necessarily know where it's coming from. And I just got that response, and I remember reading it in March, April. And then we did follow up, and then I asked him to follow up with, I think this was way too much in this document to address.
In terms of the allegation of regarding there's not really that in particular the these were very professionals. Did you feel that perhaps having to be addressed with these your shortcomings in yes, did you feel that you had more motivated as you getting comments are in each one of those that you feel that he had no abilities shortcomings
I don't believe he would respond to, like, the wording short, because it was just about the importance of communicating the team members, seek out other WVAs to be that problems on, but I don't feel that his responses to my reflection in lunch. They're
looking at the transcription. On page on our main reverse examination. One of the that we were seeing at this point, right, okay, organized fucking meeting, we said yes, so.
that's right.
Now, 109, Todd says, I believe the government perception of these things from my supervisors. And he mentioned during the letter, she says, Who is Mr. Pappas, the supervisor?
Currently not a accountable supervisor, but at this time, we're saying this is to take on with probably the direct supervisor and Dr. Connor is the superintendent.
Last time superintendent, 2018, superintendent decided to find the
That is correct.
letter is dated 2018, is that correct?
That is correct.
And you had exhibit. I'm sorry, never mind. Mr. Or Dr. Klein's comment that we're responding to Mr. Pappas. And now looking at you really almost.
I recall that you wrote a response to his letter.
Do you find that letter appropriate?
Yeah.
Did you find that letter making a response? Fine.
The response, yeah, the response, I mean, Mr. Pappas is the response. I don't feel that his response was appropriate.
Somebody.
I mean, we can first case his name that on my feedback regarding his evaluation. They like to give that the instructors really cut the line, became a concern. The expressed what I recommend, and he wanted to respond to that last time, Dr. Farn as well, I was like in our school.
So you have this, it has to be a meeting with Mr. Pappas. October 29th, all of the allegations for Mr. Pappas. Mr. Pappas responded and defined to provide his explanation for the allegations set forth.
That was, are you representing the lab? That's, yes.
And at that meeting on October 29th, as you mentioned, I worked with that for the did it set
That is correct.
and after that meeting was concluded, did you have a chance to reflect upon the information that was presented at the commissioner was presented those facts?
Yes.
In the 80s. After viewing responding to radio within the region, you had not discussed at that meeting. Including individuals. I was going to speak in so much of not that. So the in
Yes, that's really all about the steps that were taken prior to their after and all of the
and looking at exhibit 8,
essentially outline the action needed to correct and he is not to the
you didn't let it out to in my collection, so you need to pay regarding facts to it. Is it even important?
yes, absolutely.
In terms of the allegation that were presented, you feel that Mr. Pappas' explanation were satisfactory to you?
There was the opportunity to watch them for recreation. So in some cases, I'm really information is in the principal fact that the folks like the recreation. Education is one of the ones.
Who made the decision to come with Pappas' bag?
I mean, who's the
Why? What was your reason for making that?
I think it's a matter of coming out to the work with the board, what is it, the communications and the our perspective. This is a situation that I lived in, has been going on for over a decade. And ultimately, we have exercised, letters of sometimes, respond to, when corrected behavior, corrected actions, on faces, and then you move on. Unfortunately, this continues to be sophisticated happen. And as a nice problematic, sort of to me is that, like, it doesn't appear that he tries, the trust issue continues to, so as a reminder for again, that now he's been employed in this area for since 2013. So there's a money is high, it's sort of the same for the individuals who have. And it is not yeah, I just don't know how that is the consistent pattern or not sure how we can continue to address it.
The jump to motivated to teaching.
Yes, they were accommodation was a
Why not?
yeah, I think being from the perspective of progressive discipline, that we have to work on progressive discipline and we continue as well as staying reforms. So ultimately, we work, we have an admin team, we take every course down, and they continue to have issues with serve. And this is how it's a variety of different circumstances. I don't have the way I'm not really perfectly. It's just that it's my school was more time to respond to what it is. I feel that it really professional and and the interaction with the client, you can do it on these ones and get this different.
How long did you say you wanted to work?
Yeah.
What is your? You know, work what you included as a
As a result, in August, there's a basketball process, where there's a conversation, and you know, I do it, that's the option.
Educated in the letters of Mr. Bradley stating that acknowledgement to your interest, right? There's actually an exclusive. It's fine, right? And Mr. Pappas requests to give you. And that's important. Yes. There was some. We can tell them what really.
I'm just buying bags, flooding the charges, getting questions, for all of the, I think there's an administrative, like, again, we're asking questions for the business on the bags.
I understand. Then what was the part of the news that they feel was pretty square. I understand. I mean, yeah. Trying to get it it's not talking about the show. Right. Yes, special with the end. I think it's still really good. But there are I do this. So we should try to do it with all of our purposes. Again, and again, it's the not the same demonstrated.
That's direct.
Someone didn't review this.
This is the time when he was and the job description for the internet school just
And
I'm going to follow through this back.
Who is the dedicated for you in person?
You can also bring this as your
If you look at the mental days, there are 15
the organization or the district or bring over something about. During the district district, which even members who their members on behalf of the district. Perform all duties related to the position of supervisor of the office and superintendent. And the minutes, he's not asking the certificate on PDT to be paid as principal as well as the social science.
This was visualization, so that's currently going.
It's not right, but that's correct.
They were visiting talents. So I do get it. So the principal.
Principal or
I didn't understand if there's any time, what's what I want about that. He's a person who knows the problems, the one.
If I understand it correctly, we'll get into the universities, previous times, that's the teaching.
I have that assumption stating that, you know, it'll be 8 hours also on stage.
Part of the conversation, that's the name that, primaries, we're getting to certain components.
Yes,
If you consider the survey of records for your district,
yes.
if we're doing all files in the district, that working. Stress is fine.
That's right.
We're going to be all. Where is the beginning of this gets involved?
A letter of reprimand that went on the bottom line. Or, To be to the single letter, to the regard to these history and did not have mission from compliance act in that region.
You've heard example.
The letters to letters to Mr. Pappas or Dr. Klein, March 20, 2000.
March 1, 2018.
I will need to superintend.
The where was that?
I was being aware of it, yes.
This letter.
If I'm going correctly, Dr. Klein was, essentially, his, the significance of Mr. Patrick, or changing command, great, for the country. His correspondence in the letter of stress and find to our case. He is without my knowledge or permission and the district of further risk of concerns or jeopardy in meeting the order. Like writing down to comply with the applicant information to present the response to my intentions. So as the district can respond to the order. Feature not time for the down prior to move on through. Yes. That's right. Yeah. Again. He's providing an exposition to some of the decisions community board running on. But I did it first, so I was like, how can Christine find out the strong to respond to that? I think what he is essentially doing is that he's basically giving you a response that maybe you should not receive a letter of endorsement because there's a theory that because essentially what was right paid, but And again, I say that all OCR on the district, just, or reach out to them or attend.
One time, you has found in your flag one street. If you come to respond to the road.
I think this is pretty documented when his interpretation. I can appreciate that he don't where he said it's not his intention. But he says providing information. I'm about to. I'm no longer receiving any of this, the computer doctor line, so I hope we get it. I'm not sure, it's always good to provide a context and then just a background, but I'm not sure if it's necessary in this particular thing.
You can say you refer to the information. Right.
I don't know where it's up, yes.
You're right, was great. Doing service and that's what
Oh, that, yeah, the reprimand itself did not have a lot of the well, information is simply said, this is going to read, please don't do it here.
that's appropriate.
This is what our reprimand is, yes.
You look at it, there's actually, one more question I'm going to call. In addition to the items that you may discuss of the advancement or history, did this form a basis for your decision improvement?
This is consistent with the fact that is influential in the decision of the veteran. Dr. Klein had requested, listing of concerns, that were, brought to my attention, over the course of the year. I guess that is a follow-up to, the concerns you might refer within the district, so it's simply a listing of concerns. Some of which were, I'm thinking all of them perhaps were directed or at least to be addressed. Maybe in a conversation. But it's just a listing of concerns that, Dr. Klein has to be attended.
Your whole response.
I do not, it's dated as 2022, it looks like, I would have to go back and find my email to stop her. I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know, it would probably be after, believe it reflects comments or situations that occurred at that I was some to that alluded it's weird. There was several like I had a conversation with them. We did talk briefly about the school climate survey was something that we were pursuing. And unfortunately, he was not able to secure any was concerned on the school climate team. During the district meeting that he provided for additional, provided the additional honors given to him. that was first reports the IRPs reported by our administrators. His conduct and their workshop was perceived as disruptive and unprofessional. We had a situation where, we had to go back to middle school due to a student incident. And, unfortunately, we were in the playground area, and, his response was elevated that he rather than being all hands on deck, that's all his problem. He was concerned and there were little students from his grade. And, interestingly enough, we had high school indicate to us this. And we're addressing that, and when we have a situation, we go all hands on deck, being critical of others, what understand. We understand here on district level transition between residents to the elementary level, everything notifying that you received an email concerning regarding keystones that were not returned. So I believe there was a notification from DRC indicating that there were one of the books that I believe it was biology books missing. He received the email because he was looking at the school coordinator for testing and stuff. I mean, there's several things here that are very concerning.
And you sit here today, and it's just like, more really the basis where your decision to remember.
Yes. This is requesting an statutory interview with Mr. Pappas in July 2023. It is an email. I'm sorry, it's addressed to Mr. Pappas.
Who else?
It is myself, and Dr. Shaw, assistant superintendent, responsibility director. Yes, it was in July, technically, meeting that was on July fall. That is her. Yeah. Was the entries was really nice to work, yes. The first thing she was commenting on, she was during a work session meeting. For her, is kind of like the history of interactions and, that two are directing our plus special education. The other one had to do with a regular concern, that we were made aware of, by Steve, and that's all of her admin. We were essentially working on the plan to resolve, we communicated about it, and, before we look at it, we received that looking down, from the hearing, indicating that, listed that the district was, not responding, wasn't responding appropriately. Chain of command and sharing, the concern and sharing internal professional conversations. Inappropriate use or unprofessional remarks, this information for the considered administrative staff and district managers and family to any of the necessary or thoughtful respond only to certain individuals. Certainly, this response to the invitation on the to obey communications. So we talked about this in the song.
have to be more specific. First issue is conduct and action. Or what conduct and action do survive this?
The conduct and action directors that particular situation get prior looking at calling the update was our director of human resources. It was an exchange between Mr. Pappas and one of our administrators, where essentially, I believe even in an email that trust her or he was not going to continue the conversation for ourselves. Yeah, I think Mr. Pappas proactively reached out and maybe I can observe for their perspective. Myself and Sean, I think there's a series of meetings. Yes, and then communicated that to Mr. Pappas. It wasn't even his building, it was going to be another elementary building, about one fifty, but a regular position would be across the board. And we basically said that we need a respond this year to take care of it moving forward, but somehow the parent received from communication now. I can't even thought like the superintendent of the education system to start with on the press. But somehow it was just communicated with the parent that's what's going on. Situation was resolved now, the parent elected to contact all the board members. Finally, our board president at the time responded, with, the response to the parent that we work to be aware during the process of working through the situation. And, but then you really know we're aware of what you're doing. I can't, I mean, I believe all the procedure are necessary. What happened, if he said, you don't understand it, she would come in and say, I didn't tell her, I didn't tell her those things, so I think when it's all the letter, I think, maybe, his response, I didn't tell her all those things. But I was just, mistakes were wrong. Before I even tackle that issue on our particular day, but I understood the concern. I agreed. I did not communicate directly with parents and carry on with shop in front of principal. And I just felt that the situation was being addressed. But it did seem complicated by maybe the interaction with the parent outside of myself. In this particular case, yeah, I believe it has to do with, conversations that when we talk about treatment bad matter sometimes about making sure that there's a problem with a in a classroom that we're just with the teacher, it is building the rest of the principal. I think he was elected to communicate information. I believe that was directed to board members, but not all board members. I also do recall that if I would have to do something at that point would be that I would agree. When they were having conversations about their agreement. In that particular circumstance, I believe that it's directed and talked to the shop. And we can perhaps those comment related to him. Rather like not professional and sought to be on top of the shop. I believe I myself. Looking at repeating that basically for your decision, basically Absolutely, yes, all part of the From this document, actually being documented, that we will have, and a letter notice. A letter to Mr. Pappas, it's dated July 24th, 2023. And it does finally provide a concern. And notes that, the individual issues, in this particular case, I believe that you'll leave. Whether it be our director at the time, and she conducted an investigatory interview, and then she did her follow-up interview as well. So, as it is, there are going to be a series of filed concerns. The areas are addressed, and the links that ability of operation of the command. Not only for the department of Michael Lawrence, we wanted to pay attention to provide the Sean and definitely directly to your responding to her individual. So there's looking our explanation there.
You mentioned July 24th, faculties and reporting for record, and
July 24th, 2023.
you're looking at number 15. At the bottom,
Oh, let me verify. The letter was issued August 11th, 2023, but it's in reference to July 24th, 2023.
That's the meeting that we're talking about. That's the meeting we're talking about. Earlier,
That is correct.
that meeting was originally scheduled for July 12th.
Probably, we were,
The email is like, and they came.
that is correct.
So you actually got email like 12.
And it figures that the meeting was scheduled for the 12th, and was eventually constituted scheduled to July 24th.
A letter that movies reference to this, they did it 15. My college, you know,
That was correct.
basic mistake about it, not that I think it's that.
Yes.
I think we would be great, you know, that.
We worked on it together.
Did you meet Mr. Reynolds?
I do not believe I have Mr. Ramos. The teacher and I confer.
He didn't get the word back.
He raised his hand.
Yes, he was pushing down, trying to get letters. He was
Yes, I was proud. I really, I really have to get it. I believe he should have looked at it.
And in August 11th of 2023 letter. And then you can go up, a state fire issues on the correct.
That was correct.
Consideration to the party issue.
Yes.
Not sure that the letter was warranted.
Yeah.
The government also survives for a lot of records that no, or that the letters.
To my knowledge, she did not.
This is the air briefing for a while, the August 2023 letter. Was it actually the issues that brings me this one? The issues of one of the instances where the motion was wrong.
Yes.
What's the significance of the issues for you?
I think the issues was that Very young, his meetings, this very pattern of conduct that, is either disrespectful to the district, is respectful to individuals, not necessarily being a team player, not demonstrating district building leadership, generally, we were very uncomfortable. This is the letter that was issued by Dr. Deshawn, to Mr. Pappas from the elementary persons meeting. I was not in attendance, at the meeting, however, it appears that, what Dr. Deshawn, was concerned about some comments that, Mr. Pappas was making. From the meeting and was hoping to establish, essentially establish expectations, that, we should continue to have an open, honest, robust dialogue and then, I think basically, it doesn't, it's not necessarily a level recommend as much as to like, in your recap of my interaction with you, but I guess what it did get to the respiratory interviews, this is what they big pumping. Was big deal, that is correct. I did review one of the 2001 grant.
I believe this letter, just revisited stuff information. Issue their leaders.
Yeah, that's correct.
And reference troubles.
Yes,
Really reference, or issue on that direction.
that's correct.
His suspension letter in August of 2024.
Yeah.
Is there anything to do?
Yes, the agency is to say it's just a document.
Very well, I just want to clarify. I was not clear about your statement, suspension going to before, you said it won't time before.
If you look at issue number, August 2nd, 2024, he was taken 5 days suspension.
Yeah.
What is that?
This is our day, this letter is to Mr. Pappas, in the state of August, 2024, 5 days of suspension without pay. It's following a meeting was held with July 17, 2024, where, investigatory information did not give. Again, this is also requested by a colleague, former HR manager, and there's a series of topics.
Maybe recommend these issues.
Yes, yes, it was, another version, I probably, I used to be the last one, I suggested it was very long, like, actions from the last 2023. Change where, my director discussion read, it appears that this is the one right in the reference.
That was,
Yes. You reference it as it's a primary other than it's a also you know, the one to be part of what you understand. Well, then, you also believe it. Yeah, I'm going to like the whole person. Director to issue these. We had discussions with the WA committee for recommendation. That's the recommendation. It is able. No, I did not support while there were comments that we need to be explored more fully and try to take on this and say, you have not classified sensitive past experiences and fully support district decisions and action violation and directly show office about 2023 or as of the October 19 or 24 letter issue. She gave my university from also done on the fly. That was a girl who also referenced meeting time. Why is that an issue for I mean, I had to go to the issue was a mindset and they but we were receiving that. We should be working to make accountability for our action and being able to move forward. I definitely have to ask item number two. That, you know, in the Boulder School District, we do participate in, surveys. This was somewhat alarming because the academic committee that is chaired by, the WAC board essentially a decision, that has to do with, whether or not we're going to continue to the tops. And the decision was made, or the administrative committee has that, big level, and then he elected to take and survey this year, regarding the decision that was already made. And I like to follow surveying errors, but I'm not sure, like, what the decision making the decision were made and it says the direction we're going. Why is he then going back and surveying these errors? He did tell me that it's really no red areas thought about this situation now. Yeah, that's not our election. That was not an actor. I thought for the short thing was going to be essentially in time with the HR of the impact. So I think I'm glad I'm trying more of a conversation about on that. I would believe when this district, the board or the division go forward, we always ask for feedback or like conducting a survey after the fact. Used to advise it's really main farm and what is policy. I would accept that as a concern. By the time you go back and it's a little off by means. I don't have to disability level administrator in a position about what's to be able to grade level. One of his teachers around the survey that we were that very that not very well. And ultimately, when we made the decision whether or not I'm not exactly sure how it was all communicated, but sometimes when we make decisions, you don't get positive feedback, and then we have to say, there in some cases, we made a decision, we had to reevaluate. But again, that should be coming from parents, direct to this practice, and not necessarily left. Now that
Very cool. Just before we leave this next, right? Why was it whatever? Says, and there was what version you are not. I didn't clarify. That's the 8th of 23rd. When it's 20 the time. And that's a possibility of like ready to go. Right, it's like a real different thing.
Fortunately, we can't go back either.
No, I understand that we're there's somebody around us to stop there, post here, and bring, you know, here's.
So part of the follow to the 2024, finance extension, I have, schedule. Basically said that I'm not going to continue for many companies of extended invitation for my life. I visited Mr. Hopkins and something new, and I just don't have an opportunity to allow him to have a conversation regarding the concerns of the district, individual concerns, how problem solve, because I'm trying to figure out the best way to either find those board of the relationship and overall, this is the beginning of my world. At one point he had asked, do we have a meeting? And I said, well, I'm the first meeting I was school and with finance and time in the school. Then we met prior to the meeting on January 9th, and constantly just the conversation just continued to evolve. And beginning goes back to we started wanting to reference certain things that they went on, things that were cited in the 5-day letter of suspension. And but this can follow, but I think where they're the conversation is alarming how very how much guilt they're regarding the shared state. So it was one of those situations where I was listening and then there were so many concerns that I felt that I had to respond and basically correct and speaking on some of the reasons why it was written out and suspended for 5 reasons. He had a different interpretation of what happened. But it's concerning. Already said something like the amount of restriction sharing speeds off state. I'm questioning, why we continue working down the speed when it's full of corruption and everything. And his response is he was seeking justice. And so it was one of those things where I felt like we had a great conversation about the follow up. Because it was concerning to me, and I know that please know that you're not in trouble for sharing your concerns. But as I know that I cannot fix your personal narrative. And the irony is that I was concerned with you in pocket. Now, more than 2 hours, bold ran administrative meeting. And we actually played a more either activity or it was interesting that I thought I was always playing I thought progress for moving in the right direction. It be kind of conversation. I cannot believe this year has been Mr. Pasley responded by him and basically said something along the lines where I remember when we were coming to the admin and needed to well, they find the cost of scholars government. And I get it, this all different from you guys, I can look at the issue of the teacher, but in my mind, I thought, wow, we step a lot, kind of this good. And we rolled into the administrative meeting. I followed the meeting, and again, that was on the interpretation. And I don't believe that because, January, we did not continue with the, legal to the meeting. Yes. I believe I got documentation that yes, yes, I don't know if you recall from whether it's an email, because yes, the number. Here. Some of this conversation that she had, into her, following, Mr. Thomas, the measure and the conversation, the interaction, at the restaurant on certain. That's probably like two burger like that. Yes, I want to have a discussion with the teacher about how to move all those information is provided to me by with that. That actual conversation about a great help for leading to this. Yes. 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 She, I made me aware that she received, information, and I said, well, whatever the teacher needs to report, it needs to document and, to document a conversation that she had with the teacher, and then the teacher then followed up with her on the conversation. That is the job of administration and the teacher. Yes. I think we're on the teacher. Is an email from Jennifer Smith, judging at the end, indicating that there was some concerns expressed. It is to Mr. Who is our director of human resources, basically saying that, WAPA are going to formally, document an incident that occurred at the teacher induction, and looking highlights, Mr. Pappas' comments and saying this during, that motion, to encourage teachers, well, all teachers, but new teachers as well as technical teachers in the United States, and they're not on the list of individuals treated at the state.
You know, that is campus, right?
That's
Also, that's
yes, I put it in the email and it is sent to the, account as well as the items and the president and vice president of the WA. Your, the local association, the teacher, that is correct.
And so we have to spend work this, you're saying about.
I did not. I was aware of, but I thought, Mr. Price was, I mean, it was probably more than I wanted to push. She knew you were.
And the letter we formally got each of these numbers.
That is correct. That is correct, yes.
And then I think, second, full paragraph, she gave, well, the collection of the families, we had to say,
That is
and also the
in the case, the new teachers and completed those, that are acting as their mentors, but this is also your.
This is good. This member, you have to prior, that's my.
To my knowledge, she is, I'm not sure.
She indicates that again, what she said, you know, where's it?
She that's Mr. No, because it is in a different place on this month, 2025. So we were meeting later. I believe it was on Tuesday, August 12th, that there was some concerns from WAA. Dr. Town directed, the WAA rep to make sure that information is in writing. And then, I was being very, this was, you know, and I was at, I do need to get the association once a month, I was in at the end of September, and this situation was being addressed, I was speaking and on truthfully.
And it gave the last paragraph to then. Why almost.
We're not committing his individual for violation of rights of employee or local page. Consider that to be extremely non-legal, so, we would consider that the thinking issue and concern of what is their side.
Well, we did it, while I'm here on.
And at this point, we have not.
Looking into the numbers from the board.
Yes.
What is the date of the document?
The document is dated Tuesday, follow-up to your. It is from the water. And it's to, and then the CC is, trying for her and the researcher.
Who's saying that for?
Diane Everhart is the principal of the elementary.
Who's making the water?
Diane Everhart is the principal of Fairview Elementary.
All safety.
Yes.
All I would say,
I'm concerned as I expressed about Lori Howland regarding, Mr. Pappas' interaction with new teachers during the teacher induction handbook discussion. It's very clear the testifying is our new teachers going over the handbook or specifics. And, the concern was raised about regarding, professional comments and, accountability to be aware of it. And I said, well, if something happened, we don't need to stop it. I mean, it has to be done.
Was one meeting on the next stage of growth.
It was 2 days, it was not.
And this board meeting, allegation number 2, that correct?
That is correct. Okay.
And,
Yeah, yes. The motion died that requires the decision of the board. And it is to thank for wide priority grateful and talents of the superintendent. All small. 2025.
you received this in your environment.
Yes.
Recall.
Yeah, to provide all transportation, representation funds, information discussion. The annual, referring to, holiday meal and this particular case to food, can, so none of the reference to, technology.
You know, that is one before. These kids in the parties that make time.
This was saying, this would be a very time annual discussion and recommending, holiday restaurants.
If you both the for politics for meeting this is actually lunch is very tough.
It's a dog food, we have the river for two. Dog food, yeah.
This also linked into the creation application for students.
That is correct.
They all form the basis of your decision to grow with the service.
Yes.
And
And we're looking at just a learning model, a redirection or prevention of a period of time was formally progressed. We had the council, we had the interaction. My concern is that, since 2017, I had one recommendation to superintendent, one superintendent, and the consistent pattern, we have very internal, it has been. Certainly, commercial two superintendents and, previous assistant superintendent. I think what, where we're having is at that point, we can only discipline for so long. We can only redirect. I do believe there's a policy that get this far in. I mean, it's not like you don't understand what will have to be. But where we're at is the other people in the district that are connected for the impact of whether it's volunteers, whether it is this job, so the individuals that know how to work with the legal machine without much to talk about at the time to make it. I'm trying to figure it out. That a new VA or any person to protect. We would be able to do a lot of direction, but it seemed like this was rapid fire to go. New issues, new concerns, and they need to be addressed. When you start with the investment work process, and that's not what it is.
if you look at your report.
Yes.
you recall his name,
Yes, it was almost terrible, they had some, the teachers involved, just, there's, regarding family disability on, so I should feel that.
he died because he was anyway.
That is well, this is your, this is her, they had probably kids and then March was partially, I was very, students, yeah, just say that, are taking it to. Yes, she had a very mission to serve in the nursing home, I had a nursing home. Is Carnival, the summer days with that. So, American hit with Boston, assistants, I was leaving both the handler, the student, and yeah, from video footage, she was walking in the building, she was across from walking into the building, and further, and the boys realized that needed her attention, so she used, different PCI program, how to walk on all of the courses.
And you think she became it was hard for you to lie here.
That is responsible, you're just not here, is what we do. Mr. Pappas is responsible for that, not push or therefore she began to require the help for others in the building. She was the individual, Mr. Wright, Mr. Boss, or anyone else who was available to help.
And you're saying this why?
Yes, and I'm just this thing response that while there's from some, like making follow.
So we discussed on 20 about and the behaviors that they characterized discuss. Based upon that, based upon all the information presented, do you believe that Mr. Pappas would pursue a education?
I believe that Mr. Pappas has some outstanding qualities, in educational leadership. However, from my interactions with him, the information we received from other administrators, his comment during the team meetings or the meetings, he definitely has strong opinions, which he's entitled to, but he's not working with the district. It almost appears that he's trying to work against the district. And we can agree to disagree, but at the end of the day, we have a responsibility of moving forward on what work would like us to do from an educational perspective, safety perspective. I may not always agree, but at the end of the day, I would do it because I'm the director to do that in our district. And there's nothing wrong with questioning. However, I believe it's how it's being questioned, how it's being presented, which makes it more challenging for people working here in Waynesboro Area School District. So I do believe that he has any leadership qualities, but he's also demonstrated an inconsistent habit over the years not to be able to be an educational leader.
Yeah, very racist.
The characteristics are that we just found was able to not exactly follow a good educational leader.
Further question?
So